Hello and welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanziba Nawreen. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Trump arrives in New York to face charges in criminal probe. "32 dead as tornadoes torment from Arkansas to Delaware." DeSantis signs bill to carry concealed guns without a permit. About 25 train cars derail in Montana, no injuries reported. Teacher shot by 6-year-old student files $40 million lawsuit. First moon crew in 50 years includes Oman black astronaut. Son of a singer, Jelly Roll reigns at CMT Music Awards show. Russia blames Ukraine for bomb that killed military blogger. Finland doubling NATO's border with Russia in blow to Putin. Zelensky to visit Warsaw to meet with Poles, Ukrainians. Rebounding Pope Francis marks Palm Sunday in Vatican Square. South Korea, US, Japan hold anti-North Korea submarine drill. Four hurt in German hospital fire, suspect arrested. LSU defeats Iowa to win its first NCAA basketball championship. WWE no longer just a family affair as it joins with UFC. And Barcelona asks for Teba's resignation after newspaper report. You are listening to Headlines, now news in detail. Former President Donald Trump has arrived in New York ahead of his arraignment Tuesday on criminal charges stemming from a hush money payment to a porn actor during his 2016 campaign. Trump's personal plane landed at LaGuardia Airport on Monday afternoon after his flight from Florida, where he had been staying at his Mar-a-Lago resort. He was expected to spend the night at Trump Tower in Manhattan. Trump, the first former U.S. president to be charged with a crime, is to appear in a New York City courtroom Tuesday on charges of falsifying business records. Trump's motorcade ride from his Mar-a-Lago club to his red, white, and blue Boeing 757, emblazoned with his name in gold letters, was carried live on cable television. It took him past supporters waving banners and cheering, decrying the case against him, stemming from payments made during his 2016 campaign, as politically motivated. Trump is already months into a third campaign to reclaim the White House he lost to President Joe Biden in 2020, and he and his advisors seem to relish the attention. Cable networks followed his journey to the airport with video from the air, and Trump was joined on his plane by a small group of senior campaign aides as well as his son, Eric Trump, who eagerly posted photos of the wall-to-wall TV coverage from his seat. Residents across a wide swath of the U.S. raced Sunday to assess the destruction from fierce storms that spawned possibly dozens of tornadoes from the south and the Midwest into the Northeast, killing at least 32 people. The storms tore apart through the Arkansas capital and also collapsed the roof of a packed concert venue in Illinois, stunning people throughout the region with the scope of the damage. The number of deaths continued to grow Sunday. While we are still assessing the full extent of the damage, we know families across America are mourning the loss of loved ones, desperately waiting for news of others fighting for their lives and sorting through the rubble of their homes and businesses, President Joe Biden said in a statement. Biden earlier declared broad areas of the country major disaster areas, making federal resources and financial aid available for recovery. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas, where at least 5 people were killed, already had declared a state of emergency and activated the National Guard. Confirmed or suspected tornadoes in 11 states destroyed homes and businesses, splintered trees, and laid waste to neighborhoods. The National Weather Service confirmed Sunday that a tornado was responsible for damage to several homes near Bridgeville, Delaware. One person was found dead inside a house heavily damaged by the storm Saturday night, Delaware State Police reported. It may take days to confirm all the recent tornadoes. The date included at least 9 in one Tennessee county, 5 in Indiana and 4 in Illinois. Other dates from the storms that hit Friday night into Saturday were reported in Alabama and Mississippi. Floridians will be able to carry concealed guns without a permit under a bill Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed Monday, giving the governor another legislative victory as he prepares a campaign for president. The new law will allow anyone who can legally own a gun in Florida to carry one without a permit. It means training and a background check will not be required to carry concealed guns in public. It takes effect July 1. The arguments over the legislation were divided along political lines, with Republicans saying law-abiding citizens have a right to carry guns and protect themselves. They say most people will still want to get a permit because it will allow them to carry concealed weapons in states with reciprocal agreements and to be able to purchase guns without a waiting period. However, Democrats pointing to mass shootings in Florida, like the massacre at the 2016 Pulse nightclub in Orlando and the deadly 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, say the new law will only make the state more dangerous. Nearly 3 million Floridians have a concealed weapons permit, while a background check and 3-day waiting period will still be required to purchase a gun from a licensed dealer. They are not required for private transactions or exchanges of weapons. About 25 train cars derailed Sunday in northwestern Montana, with no injuries or evacuations reported, authorities said. The cars, which were not believed to be carrying anything hazardous, derailed near the town of Paradise along the Clark Fork River, said Bill Brown, a dispatcher with the Sanders County Sheriff's Office. Firefighters and representatives of Montana Rail Link, which was operating the train, were responding and investigating what the cars were carrying, he said. Photos posted on social media show some of the cars appearing to dip just into the river. The train cars did not release any hazardous materials, Montana Rail Link said in a statement. The company said the cause of the derailment was being investigated. We are committed to addressing any impacts to the area as a result of this accident, prioritizing the safety of our employees and the public, and understanding the reasons for this incident, the company said. Montana's U.S. Senators Steve Daines and John Tester said in separate tweets that they were monitoring the derailment and were in touch with local officials. A first-grade Virginia teacher who was shot and seriously wounded by her 6-year-old student filed a lawsuit Monday seeking $40 million in damages from school officials, accusing them of gross negligence for allegedly ignoring multiple warnings on the day of the shooting that the boy had a gun and was in a violent mood. Abby Joyner, a 25-year-old teacher at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News, Virginia, was shot in the hand and chased on January 6 as she sat at a reading table in her classroom. She spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital and has had 4 surgeries since the shooting. The shooting rattled the military shipbuilding community and sent shockwaves around the country, with many wondering how a child so young could get access to a gun and shoot his teacher. The lawsuit names as defendants the Newport News School Board, former Superintendent George Parker III, former Rich Neck Principal Brianna Foster Newton, and former Rich Neck Assistant Principal Ebony Parker. Michelle Price, a spokesperson for the school board, Lisa Searslaw, chair of the school board, and other board members did not immediately respond to emails seeking comment on the lawsuit. NASA on Monday named the 4 astronauts who will fly around the moon late next year, including the first woman and the first African American assigned to a lunar mission. The first moon crew in 50 years, 3 Americans and 1 Canadian, was introduced during a ceremony in Houston, home to the nation's astronauts as well as mission control. "This is humanity's crew," said NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. The 4 astronauts will be the first to fly NASA's Orion capsule, launching atop a Space Launch System rocket from Kennedy Space Center no earlier than late 2024. They will not land or even go into lunar orbit, but rather fly around the moon and head straight back to Earth, a prelude to a lunar landing by 2 others a year later. The mission's commander, Brad Wiseman, will be joined by Victor Glover, an African-American naval aviator, Christina Koch, who holds the world record for the longest spaceflight by a woman, and Canada's Jeremy Hansen, a former fighter pilot and the crew's lone space rookie. Wiseman, Glover, and Koch have all lived on the International Space Station. All 4 are in their 40s. Son of a singer Jelly Roll was the big winner at the CMT Music Awards, as the rapper turned country singer took home 3 awards on Sunday as an outsider who won over fans with his confessional songs. The tattooed singer got emotional during the show in Austin, Texas, which aired on CBS, as he thanked the country radio industry for its acceptance and shouted out to those who felt like him, "You can be whatever you want to be. I promise you that. I told them that I wanted to be a country singer, and I am standing here at the CMT Awards with the male video of the year," he shouted. Earlier in the night, he brought a choir out for his prayer-themed song, "Need a Favor," and got the crowd to raise their hands to the roof. The show started off with a somber tone as country singer and co-host Kelsey Ballerini read off the names of 6 victims of a school shooting killed Monday in Nashville, Tennessee. She noted how she shared their pain, explaining that in 2008 she witnessed a school shooting in her hometown high school cafeteria in Knoxville and prayed for real action that would protect children and families. Earlier in the evening, country artists wore black ribbons on the red carpet to honor victims of the shooting. But the show prioritized nostalgia overall as performances merged rock, blues, and country straight from the heart of Texas, mixing in tributes and covers alongside newer artists and fan-favorite hit songs. Country superstar and 5-time Grammy winner Shania Twain was given the Equal Play Award, recognizing her for being a visible and vocal advocate for diverse voices in country music. Texas native and Grammy-winning rapper Megan Thee Stallion introduced Twain, and the pair danced and hugged to Twain's hit, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." Now it's time for global updates. Russian authorities blamed Ukrainian intelligence agencies on Monday for orchestrating a bombing at a St. Petersburg cafe that killed a Russian military blogger who fervently supported Moscow's invasion of Ukraine, and they arrested a suspect. Ukrainian authorities did not directly respond to the accusation. But President Vladimir Zelensky said in reference to the attack that he doesn't think about events in Russia, and a senior Ukrainian official earlier described the bombing as part of Russia's internal turmoil. Vladlen Tatarsky, who is 40 years old, was killed Sunday as he led a discussion at the cafe on the banks of the Neva River in the historic heart of Russia's second-largest city, officials said. Tatarsky, who had filed regular reports from the front lines in Ukraine, was the pen name for Maxim Fomin. He had accumulated more than 560,000 followers on his Telegram messaging app channel. The bombing, which also wounded more than 30 other people, was the latest attack inside Russia on a high-profile pro-war figure. Last year, a nationalist TV commentator was assassinated when a bomb exploded in her SUV outside Moscow. Investigators said they believe the bomb at the cafe was hidden in a bust of Tatarsky that a member of the audience gave him just before the explosion. A video showed him joking about the bust and putting it on a table next to him. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said Monday Finland will become the 31st member of the world's biggest military alliance on Tuesday, prompting a warning from Russia that it would bolster its defenses near their joint border if NATO deploys any troops in its new member. This is a historic week, Stoltenberg told reporters on the eve of a meeting of NATO foreign ministers in Brussels. From tomorrow, Finland will be a full member of the alliance. He said that he hopes Sweden will be able to join NATO in coming months. The former Norwegian Prime Minister said that on Tuesday afternoon, we will raise the Finnish flag for the first time here at the NATO headquarters. It will be a good day for Finland's security, for Nordic security, and for NATO as a whole. Stoltenberg said that Turkey, the last country to have ratified Finland's membership, will hand its official text to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Tuesday. Stoltenberg said he would then invite Finland to do the same. Finnish President Sauli Niinisto and Defense Minister Antti Kaikkonen will attend the ceremony, along with Foreign Minister Pekka Haavisto. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky will pay a visit to Warsaw this week that will include talks with political leaders and a meeting with regular Ukrainians and Poles, Polish officials announced on Monday. Zelensky will be accompanied by his wife Olena Zelenska for the visit scheduled for Wednesday. It will begin with an official meeting at the Royal Castle between Zelensky and his host, Polish President Andrzej Duda. Their talks will include security issues, regional politics, economic cooperation, historical matters lingering between the two neighbors, as well as the transit of Ukraine's grain and other farm produce through Poland, according to Marcin Perzidags, the head of Duda's international office. The talks will be followed by a meeting with the public, according to Duda's office. Perzidags told radio broadcaster RMF-FM that Zelensky will meet with Ukrainians and Poles at the Royal Castle in Warsaw, and that Zelensky says he wants to thank Poles for helping Ukrainians. We are preparing a number of elements that will give this visit a special character, Perzidags said. Zelensky is also to hold talks with Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki regarding regional security, the situation at the front, and bilateral cooperation, including the situation at border crossings and with Ukrainian grain, according to Morawiecki aide Mikhail Orchik. Bundled in a long white coat and battling a hoarse voice, Pope Francis presided over Mass in St. Peter's Square before tens of thousands of faithful on Palm Sunday, a day after he left a Rome hospital where he was treated for bronchitis. The sun broke through the clouds during the Mass, one of the longest services on the church's calendar, as Francis, red vestments placed over his coat, sat in a chair under a canopy erected in the square. He took his place there after standing and clutching a braided palm branch in a Pope mobile that drove at the tail end of a long, solemn procession of cardinals, other prelates, and rank-and-file Catholics. Participants carried palm fronds or olive tree branches. Francis received antibiotics administered intravenously during his 3-day stay. His last previous appearance in St. Peter's Square saw him conduct his regular Wednesday public audience. He was taken to Rome's Gemelli Polyclinic that same day after feeling ill. His voice sounded strong as he opened the Mass, but quickly turned strained. Despite the hoarseness, Francis read a 15-minute-long homily, occasionally adding off-the-cuff remarks for emphasis or gesturing with a hand. The South Korean, US and Japanese navies began their first anti-submarine drills in 6 months on Monday to boost their coordination against increasing North Korean missile threats, South Korea's military said. The 2-day drills come as North Korea's recent unveiling of a type of battlefield nuclear warhead prompted worries the country may conduct its first nuclear test since 2017. The maritime exercises in international waters of South Korea's southern island of Jeju involved the nuclear-powered USS Nimitz aircraft carrier and naval destroyers from South Korea, the US and Japan, South Korea's defense ministry said in a statement. The training was arranged to improve the three countries' capacities to respond to underwater security threats posed by North Korea's advancing submarine-launched ballistic missiles and other assets, the statement said. South Korean defense officials said the three countries were to detect and track unmanned South Korean and US underwater vehicles posing as enemy submarines and other assets. Submarine-launched missiles by North Korea are serious security threats to the United States and its allies because it's harder to spot such launches in advance. In recent years, the North has been testing sophisticated underwater-launched ballistic missiles and pushing to build bigger submarines, including a nuclear-powered one. 4 people were seriously hurt in an overnight fire at a hospital in Berlin, including a patient who sustained life-threatening injuries, authorities said Monday. A man was arrested on suspicion of starting the blaze. The fire on the 3rd floor of the Klinikum Urban in the German capital was extinguished early Monday morning, the fire service said. 3 patients and a nurse were seriously injured, among them a patient who got stuck in an elevator and whose life was in danger after inhaling smoke. 40 people were evacuated as smoke spread through the building. Police said the blaze appears to have started when a 48-year-old man set fire to 2 hospital beds shortly after midnight. He also tried to set a garbage can alight in a fire, but firefighters prevented him from doing so, they said in a statement. The suspect was arrested. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 15,374.5919. The NYSE Composite is increased by 174.32 points or 1.15%. Tokyo stock close price is 28,188.15. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 146.67 points or 0.52%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,296.396. The Shanghai Composite Index is increased by 23.54 points or 0.72%. Hong Kong stock close price is 20,409.18. The Hang Seng Index is increased by 9.07 points or 0.04%. Bombay stock close price is 59,106.44. The Sensex Index is increased by 114.92 points or 0.19%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Kim Mulkey returned home to Louisiana wanting to bring LSU its first basketball championship. The Hall of Fame coach did just that in only her second year at the school. Her Tigers used a record offensive performance to beat Caitlin Clark and Iowa 102-85 on Sunday and win the first basketball title, men's or women's, in school history. I turn around and look at the final four banners. Nowhere did it say national champion, Mulkey said. That's what I came home to do. The victory made Mulkey the first women's coach to win national titles at two different schools. She won three at Baylor before leaving for LSU 2 years ago. Coaches coach a lifetime, and this is the fourth time I have been blessed, Mulkey said. Never in the history of LSU basketball, men or women, has ever played for a championship. The feisty and flamboyantly dressed Mulkey, who wore a perky golden tiger-striped outfit, now has the third most national titles behind Geno Auriemma's 11 and Pat Summitt's 8. Mulkey has never lost in a championship game. WWE is saying goodbye to existing as a family-run business as it joins with the company that runs Ultimate Fighting Championship to create a $21.4 billion sports entertainment company. The deal announced Monday between Endeavor and World Wrestling Entertainment on the heels of its biggest event of the year catapults WWE into a new era after spending decades under the control of the McMahon family. Vince McMahon purchased Capital Wrestling from his father in 1982 and took the regional wrestling business to a national audience with stars such as Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The company, which changed its name to World Wrestling Federation and later World Wrestling Entertainment, hosted its first WrestleMania in 1985. McMahon, in an interview with CNBC, addressed doubts among some WWE fans and industry experts that he would ever make a deal for the business. It's the right time to do the right thing, and it's the next evolution of WWE, he said. In a presentation after the deal was announced, the WWE and Endeavor said that they will cross-promote to drive brand awareness and deepen penetration of their overlapping fan base, more than 700 million UFC fans and 1.2 billion WWE fans worldwide. The attacks and accusations between Barcelona and Spanish League president Javier Tebas are far from over. The latest spat on Monday was the club asking for Tebas' resignation after a report said the league gave false evidence against Barcelona to prosecutors in the refereeing scandal involving the Catalan club. Tebas had already claimed the report by La Vanguardia newspaper was misleading and carried incorrect assumptions, but it was enough to reignite the vendetta between the two sides. It is not the first time that the president of La Liga has used the media weapons at his disposal to damage FC Barcelona, the club said in a statement. However, in contrast to his usual nonsense, we could never have imagined that he could try to incriminate our club with false evidence, Barcelona said. The article published by Vanguardia is of such gravity that it should put all the clubs in La Liga on alert, given that it talks of practices which are in no way consistent with the job of league president. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. That's all in today's news. Keep watching Millennium News 24 for latest update. Millennium TV US and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.